Hello and welcome to day 5 of the Daily Mario. Once again, I'm Jeremy Parrish. I've been trying to learn how to make good levels over the past week. Over the weekend, I decided to mix things up a little and create a bad level. Well, not necessarily a bad level, but one that sort of sits in defiance of the design philosophies I've been trying to incorporate. Now, it's easy to make a bad level or an unfair level, but to create an exquisitely painful level, that's work for an expert. So I looked to the greatest experts, Konami, whose NES version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is regarded as one of the hardest and most brutal video games of all time, particularly the underwater sequence from the second stage, the dam level. Now, whether you're an NES veteran or just pick up your knowledge of NES games from video game nerds with anger management issues, you're surely familiar with the second stage of TMNT. It was a small, compact stage with a tight time limit and an incredibly high difficulty level. You had to defuse about 6 or 7 bombs placed around an underwater sequence. Standing in the way were electrical barriers, fire bars, and worst of all, clumps of inexplicably electrified seaweed that would zap you and drain your health if you swam into them. Now, TMNT did not have very good underwater controls. I've complained about underwater stages in Mario before, but those things are a breeze. The controls in Mario underwater, great. Controls in TMNT, not so much. You had clumsy controls in a stage that required absolute precision. It was really, really difficult and not very fun, and it appeared really early in the game, so just about everyone who's played TMNT gets to that point and says, "What the hell? This is so hard." So basically, I tried to recreate TMNT's dam stage in Super Mario Maker to the best of my ability. It required a little bit of creative thought because, one, all the elements that compose the dam stage don't actually exist in Mario Maker, such as the electrical barriers and the kelp with the electricity. Also, the point of the stage was to deactivate all 6 or 7 bombs. There's no such equivalent in Mario Maker's tool set. So I fudged it a little bit. Instead of electrical barriers, we have dual pipes with piranha plants that emerge, which kind of functions the same way. It's a barrier element that works on a timer. In place of kelp, seaweed, I have jellyfish, which don't drain health but are hazardous to the touch just the same. So the hazards are actually deadlier here, but the trade-off is that Mario controls better underwater than the turtles did. So the idea is that it should kind of work out to be a wash. The real trick was in creating the bombs, which don't exist in Mario Maker. At least as far as I've unlocked, there's no such thing as a stage goal for you to activate. And even if there would just be 1 as opposed to 6 or 7. So I had to come up with a way to encourage people to actually hit all the question blocks, which is what I used as the equivalent of the bombs, in order to kind of replicate the experience of the TMNT level. And there was one final modification I had to make. The TMNT level spans 3 screens vertically, whereas Super Mario Maker only lets you make stages that are 2 screens vertically. So I had to take one chunk of the game, one chunk of the stage, and replace it to move it toward the end of the level. But the overall experience, I think, turned out to be pretty much the same. And I'm happy to say that it's still playable, not just from me, but I watched Nintendo World Report play through it on their stream yesterday, and they actually got through it on their first try. So I don't feel that it was actually completely unreasonable. So I feel kind of good about it. Anyway, let's have a look at how the stage plays out. So you can see here the green pipes that pop out immediately. They're all kind of on the same sequence, so they work a lot like the electrical barriers. The first question block there was a bomb there. It's a mushroom now. The fish weren't in the original stage, but they're there to kind of encourage you to go up. So you get the fire flower. Now there's 2 ways you can go here. You can go the upper path or the lower path. The upper path has the fire bars, and then the lower path has more of the barriers with the piranha plants, but now you have the ability to break them, which is something you couldn't do in Ninja Turtles, so another little bit of fairness here. Since I couldn't use bombs as, targets for the stage, instead what I did was I blocked off passages with bricks using the Super Mario Bros. 3 rule set. The bricks turn into coins when you hit the P switches that are located in the question blocks. So instead of deactivating bombs, what you're doing is you're activating coin switches to create a path forward. So it's not exactly the same, but I think the spirit is kind of fundamentally similar. And if you're really quick, you can actually make it through that second batch of coins, but I played a little cautiously and didn't make it in time. So fortunately there's another P switch here. I suppose it's possible to play really badly and screw yourself over and not be able to hit all the P-switches in time and then be unable to complete the level. But if you're playing that badly as I'm playing here, apparently, then you can easily kill yourself or kill poor Mario and start over. Anyway, the jellyfish here replace the kelp and seaweed, and as you can see, they will freeze you or knock you down to size on contact. But you can very cautiously swim through there, especially if you line yourself up against the bricks. And it's not impossible to get through, so that's kind of nice. Anyway, kind of the final gauntlet here. Because of the way the piranha plants work, they do get a little bit out of sync in places, but I really don't think there's any way to avoid that. I tried to keep the layout and placement of everything as close as possible to the original design of the game. And then finally, one last little barrier here. That's the final bomb. Instead of flexing and saying, okay, Mario just turns those blocks into coins, and so a classic abusive stage of the NES converted into Mario Maker. Anyway, people have been saying, oh, I can't wait to play these stages you've been creating. Unfortunately, the media version of the game gets wiped out at launch, as do all the games currently on the server, so I would have to remake these from scratch. I don't know if I want to do that, but we'll see. In any case, tomorrow, back to making disciplined, responsible levels. No more of these Ninja Turtle shenanigans. So join us again tomorrow and check out the full series on usgamer.net or subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can get the experience both ways.